This is Life Transformation Radio. Prepare to engage. Seatbelt activated. Download initiated. Your quantum journey of transformation begins in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. Hi, I'm Rob Actis, best-selling author of The Law of Action, voice actor, business mindset coach, the podcast whisperer, and Mr. Action himself. Here at Life Transformation Radio, we are committed to share more about real life, love, the power of positivity, romance, and of course, laughter. We care about helping others find their internal drive and purpose. We celebrate life's challenges and overcoming them. Now, on the show, my guests are amazing people who are forces for good in the world around them and live a life of transformation. My guest today, she does just that. Today, Swanette Kuntze and I discuss how the universe has your back. Not all, does it? It's playing games. So if you want to learn how the universe has your back and that the pain we go through helps us understand our purpose, well, you can become the true, authentic you. This is the show for you. Swanette is the muse of magnificence. She believes that everybody has the birthright to live in magnificence, fulfillment, and abundance. And she has never stopped evolving, experimenting with science and spirituality, as well as thinking ahead of time. And this shows up in her incredibly potent skills as an intuitive strategist, having the sixth sense and an engineer mind. Swanette takes her clients much further in life and business, even though they're already highly successful. She gives them a rebirth of identity, ambition, and purpose. She activates, elevates, accelerates, and she helps them get into quantum leaps, into their magnificence and unlimited futures. Swanette, welcome to Life Transformation Radio.
Thank you so much for having me, Rob.
Absolutely. So, we were talking before we started recording, and Mercury is definitely in retrograde. There's been so much stuff going on. We had issues with the microphones not working, and then we had scheduling, and this didn't work, and that didn't work, and this didn't work, and that didn't work. So a lot of people are experiencing just crazy in their world. Like it's like they're living around a Tasmanian devil, if you remember from the cartoon, and everything is spinning and spinning and spinning out of control. How does one approach what's happening now? Because there is a lot going on.
So from my perspective, this is like the old systems are breaking down. We can see that in every aspect, like our economy, our environment, our social system. If we look into that, there is chaos all over. And at the same time, we need this, like the old systems breaking down to create something new, something that really want to live in our future. So this is, I think that is happening. And also like the energies that are coming through are supporting this kind of transformation that is massive. We are going into a paradigm shift right now.
So is this kind of like the beginning of everything is just imploding and destroying and burning to the ground, and it's the ashes, and out of the ashes rises the phoenix? Is that, because it's interesting, the world seems so chaotic and crazy and all this stuff. And I've become very spiritually enlightened. And the most amazing thing is that I'm not really stressed about it. And it doesn't puzzle me, but I look at it and I'm like, wow, the whole world is spinning out of control and all this stuff is going on. And I feel okay. I mean, I live in love and light, and I try to live, in 5D and not be so absorbed in all of the crazy that's going on out there, because I can't control it. And a lot of it isn't even real. Like, that's a whole nother conversation. But how is that what's happening? Is it just like the out of the ashes rises the phoenix and things are going to be okay?
So From my perspective, we have at the moment like a split of dimensions, which means that on the one hand, there is an opportunity or the possibility that we will end up in a system that is in transhumanism and really in total control of our life. And at the same time, there's like the other way, I would call the magical way, which is what a lot of people are creating at the moment. And this looks like a paradise 2.0. So, yeah, it is not that we really have to burn everything into the ashes, but I feel that this chaos is very important so that people can wake up and see, okay, what systems are we involved in? What is it that is not working anymore? What is it that is really important? And we only go through this kind of transformation when we have this chaos around us. And sometimes it looks like, okay, it is burning down everything, but it is like we are also at the same time planting seeds for what we really want to create and where we want to evolve as humanity.
Right. It's an interesting feeling to see everything like just imploding. Governments and businesses and the economy, and people are nuts. I mean, I'm not saying everybody's nuts, but I'm just saying people are really tense and they're acting out in ways that I've never seen before. We were at a fast food restaurant, and I've seen on different internet, and TikTok and stuff like that, videos of people that freak out. And I saw a person freak out in front of me over some food. Like, this woman lost her mind. It was almost like she was like possessed or something. I mean, you would have think that someone slaughtered her whole family. And I think she didn't get like the chicken sauce that she wanted or something like that. And I was like, wow. And all I could do was bless her with love and light and just look in disbelief and just like, how chaotic is your life, and how much struggle are you currently experiencing to lose your composure and your mind over food? And the wildest thing about it is the woman was there and she had it. She was handing it to her, but this woman wanted to escalate and make things just crazy.
Yeah, so what I see is that we have been in a situation where this instability brings in insecurity in our life. So a lot of people are struggling with fear, with anxiety, with being overwhelmed, not having anything like a concept or a vision for their own future. And at the same time, they are seeing everything is breaking down. So of course, it's like, okay, what will happen next? And if they don't have any coping mechanisms, if they don't have a high resilience, this is the only way they can behave. And sometimes it's like, when the glass is full and you put in one more drop, then it's like, okay, everything is floating out. And perhaps this was happening to this woman. Like, she already had so much happening in her life that this was just the last point that needed to happen. And she got out like being totally crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. So one of the things that caught my mind on your background is you have an expertise in spiritual forensics, and that you can go into the soul DNA to make the invisible visible. And I'm like, well, that sounds really cool. I need to have more information on that. So what exactly do you mean by the invisible visible and soul DNA? I don't think I've heard of that before.
Yeah, so from my concept, we come here as a soul and bring up wisdom from past lives, while at the same time, we figure out what will be our family so that we get the perfect DNA to evolve in this lifetime. And this combination of being the soul incarnating in this life and figuring out what is our DNA so that we can do the next step in our level of evolution is like the soul DNA. I call it like that. And what I see is that a lot of people have this feeling, okay, we come here with something that is somehow we feel it in our body. We have this kind of whispering in our head, but it is not conscious because it's in our subconscious level, or it is even in our soul level, or it is in our ancestral line, like in the pattern of that. So we don't have access. And when we step into investigating in this, like an investigator would do in a crime scene, like figuring out the different puzzle pieces of what is going on in our present lifetime and what happens in our ancestral line that is giving over and is also like imprinted in our DNA, and what comes from our soul level that is giving over from one lifetime to the next time, then we have this concept of, looking into the spiritual forensics and figuring out who we truly are.
Now, one of the things you talk about, and I've heard this from many people that are spiritually enlightened and awakened, is blockages, energy blockages. And and it even goes back to not just you, but ancestral blockages. So that to me is quite fascinating in that your lineage of who you are and your family, there's blockages, there's emotional trauma that happens that will continue into who you are?
Absolutely, yes. So I can only give you an example from my family. Like my grandmother has been in 2 world wars and my father has been in 1 world war. So, of course, with that, certain things happened, like they created wealth and lost everything because they had to move out of the war zone and leave everything behind, just take what they could handle and take with them. And of course, there were moments where they didn't have access to food anymore. So they were very hungry and had to figure out what is around, going to the fields, if there are still some potatoes or seeing some apples somewhere on the tree left. So what came over from the generation of my grandmother and my father to me was that I can create wealth, and then something happens that I lose everything. And this is a pattern, like this is giving over from one generation to the next one. Even though, of course, I have never experienced war, it was still imprinted inside of my DNA, and I lived this pattern as well. Also, I could see that when my grandmother died, her cellar was full of food. She cooked all the food and put it in little glasses in the cellar. And she had a freezer where you can put in a pig, and it was full with meat because it could happen that there will be another time when she doesn't have food. Same with my father. Like we had the storage area and it was full with food. And I'm getting crazy if my fridge is not full. So, of course, I'm aware of this pattern and I worked a lot to clear this out. But this is something that is very obvious. And for most people, they are not even aware what is coming over from one generation to another one. Obvious things like aggression or sexual abuse or things like that are giving over, and they become very aware if this happens. But often these patterns and behaviors and also the traumas that are involved are not visible. And so it takes some time to bring them from the unconscious mind into the conscious mind, and then, of course, to release and clear it.
Wow. Now, you had a near-death experience when you were a child, about 8. And that really changed the dynamic of your life in that you were able to see and feel things that you'd never had before. And so from a long line of your life, you've been able to feel and be part of the spiritual realm.
Yeah. And this was an experience that I had when I was 8 years old. I was lying on a doctor's bed in a hospital, and I was in coma for 2 days, and the doctors had no idea what happened with me. And so they thought it could be like a meningitis, and stick in a long needle into my spinal cord to take out some liquor. And while this was happening, I was kind of pulled into the light, and it felt so peaceful and calm and loving. While at the same time, I could see the doctors, doing this kind of treatment, and I could see that my parents were outside; they were not with me, and I could smell the disinfection, and so it was really like, okay, there's my bio body having this experience, and at the same time, there is, I would call it my soul or my spirit, having the other experience. And this moment of duality was so crazy. And then the next moment I was pushed back into my body, and I woke up from my own screaming and fell in coma again. And I had these moments of fainting away or being in coma over and over and over again from the age of 8 until I was, I would say, 15. And yeah, so for me, this was the first moment that I understood that there's more than just having this physical body. There is something more that belongs to me, and that is so important. And it gave me the ability to be clairvoyant and precognitive since then. And also having this very strong connection to life in general. So I can feel people, I can feel animals, I can even feel like the breathing of this earth. So it's really, something that is beyond the normal senses we do have. I call it the sixth sense, but it is even more. It's really, you can't find words with that if you can't experience it, but it's really very strong. And it gives me like this feeling that we really have to pay attention how we behave, how we treat each other, if we are not coming from a point of compassion and love, because everybody can feel this somehow, but perhaps not being aware, like having this intuition or having this empathy and feeling it. For me, it is like 10 times more intensive than normal people do have this.
One of the things that I've discovered from all the podcasts that I've done and all the amazing souls that I've had a chance to talk with is it seems like there's a turning point or something happens in someone's life and then they get a spiritual awakening. I don't recall, and I could be mistaken, anybody that has a spiritual sense about them that hasn't had a moment where all of a sudden it was revealed to them. It didn't just like when you're born, you're like, I'm spiritual. I can connect to the quantum field. I can do this. I can, I'm clairvoyant. I see things. I feel things. It seems like there's always been something happened. And I wonder if that's like you have it and the universe is like, okay, we gave you this gift and you're not really getting it and you're not understanding. You might be blocking it out. So we're going to get your attention. Like, is that what happens?
So I would say that we have this when we incarnate in this planet. So look at children. Yeah, they see things you can't see and they have this vision of things. And then something happens. They get into our education system and
it squashes it down. It compresses it and it makes it okay.
Listen to the parents that tell their children, oh, what you're telling me, you just make this up. This is not real. And they're seeing things and parents tell them this is something that can't exist. I think children have this connection to the quantum field. And they have the ability also to download information, and they can see beyond. And then during our culture, how we experience life and how we are treated like children, then it happens that we lose this kind of abilities. And often, something happens that you have this moment of, a situation like an accident, or for me, it was a near-death experience, or like you lost someone, and then it is like, wow, it's coming back. And this moment of the connection to the higher realms is like, okay, now it's time to connect again.
Yeah, so I've had a couple near-death experiences, and then I had one significant near-death experience. So it made us have that many, and I changed. Like if you would have asked me 10 years ago, I would have conversations with people that are so connected to the universe, and then I would have Life Transformation Radio and talk about all the fun stuff that we talk about. I probably wouldn't have believed you because I wasn't in that listening. And all of a sudden, it really kind of blows my mind that I'm so open now, and I feel and I see, and the conversations that I have. And, the one thing that I see every day is numbers. So I see 1111 like clockwork every day, every night. And my understanding is that means that the angels are communicating with me, and that they're letting me know that, hey, we got your back. And so I don't take credit for things that I do in my life. I give it to, the universe and the light and my team behind me. I don't get to take credit for that. They are there assisting me. I mean, I just may be the vessel, but it's not me. I've got some extra help. Is 1111, is that the significance? Does that mean that angels are checking in with you? What a beautiful thing. I just feel like I just got all, that lit me up. That's just what I was told. So is that when you see numbers like 1111, is that angels checking in?
So I think that we all have our spiritual guides, and they send us messages over numbers, for examples, or I see feathers, for example, a lot. And other things like synchronicities appear. I run into people, or I see a book or something like a short movie, and then I feel, okay, this somehow resonates with me and gives me a kind of a trigger for something that is going on. And therefore, I think this is, you can see numbers, for example, that show up over and over again, but everybody has different ways to connect with their spiritual guides, and they give signs, and depending on how you speak with them, so to say, they give you the information that is necessary for you to be on your path.
I have amazing spiritual guides that are with me. The 1111 always makes me feel calm. I always, I text my wife all the time and a few friends, 1111, make a wish. I always, that's what I do, but I feel really blessed. What amazes me in my life is I have my analog Rob, and, ADD and disorganized and this and that. And, man, I can, really cause chaos. And even though there's all this chaos, everything turns out okay. I am so blessed when everything seems just the darkest of the dark. And I really, truly believe that everything's going to be okay. I really, truly believe it from my core. And it's always okay. It's just always okay. My wife was in an accident, and I won't go into much detail. The angels and our spirit guides had to be watching over. It was multiple cars, and the the impacts that occurred and the condition of the cars, even though, the emergency response, they're like, we were mentally preparing for fatalities. And there were injuries, but there was no deaths. And it's just incredible how unscathed, meaning that like bodies destroyed and limbs missing and, just the impacts that these people experienced were so minute. And the blessings there. Now, there's definitely trauma, there's definitely injury, and there's recovery for all that are involved. But no one died. And if you looked at the cars, you're like, wow. And it's a conversation when people see the condition of the cars. How many, did someone die? No. And so it's truly, it makes you feel almost like a warm hug to know that you have a team behind you. And it's really nice. It's really nice. I just feel very blessed that I did have that awakening, and then I am in touch with my spirituality. And yeah, even talking to you is just such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I can see that. And as well, we have this idea that we have a tomorrow, and that there is like this idea we will live until whatever statistic we pick up, like being 70 or 80. But it is, from my point of view, so important to be really present in this moment. Also, not only to live in this moment, but also to figure out who are our friends, is our family, how can we really deeply connect to them? How can we share the love we have inside of us with them? Because, as you said, this moment, it could happen that the outcome would be totally different. But now it's like, okay, you will be reminded that how much you love your wife.
Absolutely. You think you love someone, you have, like, I'd take a bullet for her. And yeah, I didn't know that I had even more of a capacity to hold my love for her even more, and how precious she is. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. I guess the word would be awesome when you look at the blessing. And also, one of the things I talk about this in my book and I talk on stage, is live every day like you want to be alive, because there is no guarantee at any moment. Just a snap of a finger, just like that. And things can change. My daughter was 14 years old and we had a great day. And, she was drawing a mermaid, which I have on my arm. It's a tattoo. And she posted it on Instagram. And then an hour and a half later, she was in a helicopter on her way to a trauma center because she suffered a stroke and was on her way to have brain surgery. And she was 14. Like, talk about the universe, like, stopping your life. You never know. It could be you. It could be someone else. So the gift that I hope you receive out of this episode is to really harness every single moment of life that we have. There's no guarantee. I wish you all tremendous length of life. My mom's 94. My dad died at 92. So we got good stock. And there's other forces.
Yeah, and don't go out of a situation where you don't feel that there's something unsaid. Like, No, if there would be this moment that you will never see the other person again, is this really like a circumstance you would say goodbye in this way? So from my point of view, it's very important to be aware that, okay, we have this moment and we will share our life perhaps for this moment, but there could be also a time when we are not able to be together anymore. So everything I have to say to have a deep connection with someone, I have to say it right now. Don't take it with you and be angry about someone, because you will not know if you will meet this person again. So this is something really I learned also for myself, that this is important to really step into being authentic and being in love with someone and sharing this.
Well, I'm known for giving really good hellos and really good goodbyes. I put everything I have into both of those. And I don't take that lightly, because you just never know. And any moment, and things could change. So really just enjoy the moments you have with your family and friends. And also not even the moments just with your family and friends, but the moments in your life, like experience life. Take your shoes off and walk in the grass and connect with Mother Earth. Look at the butterflies. Look at the birds. Be mindful. That's how you correct. That's how you connect with the universe and the soul and the heartbeat of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm living in a wonderful place of abundance. It's called Madeira Island. And I have the possibility here to go into the ocean and have a walk at the beach and go up to the highest mountain. And sometimes in wintertime, even see snow. And this is like, I'm sitting between banana trees and orange trees, so to say. And this is really a place of special energy. And I'm so happy that I can connect with nature and with Mother Earth here in a very special way.
Well, you're very special. You're a spiritual change maker. It's Swanette, and you can reach her on the web at spiritual-changemaker.com. Swanette, thank you so much for being here today and for just plowing through everything it took to get you on the show. I really appreciate your tenacity and your determination and for being here. So thank you.
Yeah, it was an honor to be here. Thank you so much, Rob.
And thank you so much for your support and taking time out of your busy and precious day or night to listen. I so appreciate it. Thank you for allowing me, along with my very special guests, to touch your heart, move your soul, and inspire you to live a life of transformation. I'm Rob Actis. Until next time.
This is Life Transformation Radio. Download complete.